Are you a sad individual living under a Parisian opera house and dropping chandeliers on people's heads for fun? Well, you may want to stop because that's a crime and get yourself a podcast. How do you do that? Easy. It's with Anchor. Anchor is a totally free app and website, and you can record from your phone or your computer. You don't need fancy smancy equipment. Seriously, I have recorded podcasts from my bathtub while I was bathing. Anchor is free and super easy to use. Anchor has really simple podcasting tools. You sign up and then you start podcasting. It really is that simple. Within an hour of starting my podcast, I was already distributed on Spotify. Now I'm on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and Radio Public. So look for the app or the website. The website is anchor.fm, and the app, just go to your friendly local app store and look up Anchor. That's Anchor. Happy podcasting! Hi, hello, my beef roots. I am so excited. With this episode of the podcast, we are going to discuss Season 2, Episode 14, The Rainy Day Women, and this is an episode that I've never seen before, and apparently it has some really great moments. I was talking to a friend who thoughtfully didn't give me any spoilers, but I am super excited for this one, so let's get into it. Da 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 da. I can't sing. We open up on a shot of the ocean and a DJ talking about how much rain it is in Orange County. And I gotta say, having lived in Orange County, it's kind of accurate to how people react because it's like half the national average for the country of rainfall per year, I think. At least that's what it was back when I lived there, but I was like 11, so my stats may be off. But so we get to the Cohen house, and poor Seth and Ryan are separated by the actual house and the pool house, and it's pouring down rain, and there's lightning and thunder, and they're talking about their issues with Summer and Lindsay, and how Summer was going to be off with Zach. But Seth doesn't realize that Summer's not really thrilled at that prospect, and Ryan doesn't know what's going on with Lindsay because she's not talking to anybody. And before that, Seth tried to seduce Ryan with bread to get him to come over to the house, but neither of them wanted to go into pouring rain, and quite frankly, I don't blame them. Sandy and Kirsten are not getting on well at all. Kirsten is laying in bed. She obviously feels like crap, and she tells Sandy that she doesn't want to talk to him. And she's angry because she felt that he was suggesting that everything with Rebecca leaving was her fault. And Sandy's like, oh, no. And then Rebecca calls, and apparently she's still in Newport. And she's like, I was gonna take a bus, but then I decided that I couldn't leave without saying goodbye, which really, really, just, whatever. So anyway, Kirsten gets upset and she gets up to leave, and Sandy tells Rebecca and Kirsten to stay where they are, but Kirsten leaves anyway, and presumably he's going off to get Rebecca. Then we have Julie attempting to make bagels because she wants to be like the Coens. Sure, okay, whatever. But anyway, Alex and Marissa comes in, and she's very nice to Alex and makes a comment about, back in my day, I was pretty up with the punk, and Alex is like, uh-huh, and then Julie's like, LOL, JK, it's still my day, I was just being modest. And it's like, oh dear Julie, I love you and I hate you. But anyway, that's Julie Cooper. So, and while Julie's back with Sir, Marissa and Alex are smooching, and it was really cute. So anyway, Alex is like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. And so Marissa and Julie are together, and Julie's like, it's so nice to talk to you. And Marissa's like, you know what? Fine, I'll tell you everything. No screaming, no crying, no throwing pool furniture into the pool. Just talk. Alex is my girlfriend. And Julie's like, oh, yeah, I know. I just hope that you don't not spend time with Summer. And Marissa's like, No, she's my girlfriend. I want to smooch her. Okay, she doesn't say that, but yeah, it's heavily implied. And Julie just closes her mouth and she's like, ooh, which I don't think Julie is homophobic. Like, yes, she's a raging bitch, but I don't think that homophobia would be in her character because, like, it wouldn't occur to her as something to look down on something for. I mean, like, if they were gay and poor, sure. You know, if they were gay and they had bad teeth, sure. But if they were just gay, like, that doesn't strike me as something that she'd particularly care about because I don't know. I mean, maybe she'd care about like how people looked at her daughter, but I don't think she'd necessarily care about like people being gay in of itself. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen this episode, so it's like it's super exciting. I get excited by the most basic shit. Just, let me live. Ryan goes to Lindsay's house to try and sort out his issues with her, and she is playing the oboe, the accursed oboe. Well, I guess I shouldn't be so judgmental. At least it's not like a freaking recorder or something. Ugh. I will never forget how much I hate recorders. But anyway, so he tries knocking on her door and she ignores him because she thinks it's Caleb. And really, after the way he treated her, can you blame her? I can't, not at all. So Ryan goes to the window and knocks on that, and she opens the window and he's soaking wet. And they talk about how Lindsay's mom is worried about the fallout socially because of her affair with Caleb, and since Lindsay may not have any actual relatives in Newport, she's just thinking of going and staying with some family with her mom in Chicago. And Ryan's like, oh, that's sad. Lindsay is wearing this really weird jacket. Like don't get me wrong, it's a cute jacket, but it has these weird things on the shoulders. They're like roughly metallic, kind of champagne-y things. And it's weird because it's a dark green jacket, so this doesn't really go with any of it. I don't understand the point. And the reason I mention it is because of what happens next with Summer, who was wearing one of the most hideous bridesmaid dresses I have ever had the misfortune to see. It has the tulle ruffled neckline and it's like yellow and it bags around her waist and it just does not look flattering at all. Like, I'm sorry, if I were a bridesmaid and I had a bride say, oh, wear this dress, I would be like, you hate me. Why do you hate me? So Seth comes over to Summer's place again, and like at least he acknowledges that it's kind of weird and that he should stop, but the fact that he keeps doing it kind of makes that acknowledgement completely worthless. But anyway, so he spies the suitcases on her bed and he's like, oh, you really are going to Tuscany? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, well, I hope you use the right plug, which I'm sure it doesn't come off as bizarre or anything like that at all. Whatever, Seth, just get over yourself. Anyway, so this dress is just terrible, and I wish that I could use the power of like visual podcasting to show it to you, but Hulu won't let me take screenshots. I tried and I was gonna put it on my Facebook page, but nope, can't do it. So I'll try and look up some shots and post them there. Kirsten is sitting in her office being very frustrated, and Julie comes in and is like, hey, what's wrong? And Kirsten's like, ugh, I have so much trauma. And Julie's like, ugh, me too. Do you want to go into Caleb's liquor cabinet and steal his booze and talk it out? And Kirsten's like, sure. So they're chilling out. Kirsten's smoking a cigar. I'm not sure what a gazar is, but if anybody knows, please tell me if that's actually a thing. I can work it in there and pretend that I meant to say that. But anyway, she's doing it kind of badly and ends up coughing. And then Julie pulls out a cigar cutter, and is there like an actual legit name for that, or is it just a cigar cutter? And she's like, I fantasize about using this on Caleb, and I'm like, on his finger? I hope that that's what she's going for, because the other option is a wee bit horrifying. Emphasis on wee. Marissa comes rushing into Alex's place, and she's like, oh, you won't believe it, I told my mom. And Alex is like, what? And she's like, about us. And Alex is like, hold on, wait a second, you didn't do this just to piss her off, did you? And Marissa's like, no, I did it so that we could be us together. And they're very happy and smoochy, and it is adorable. And we have Ryan and Lindsay, who have just come back from doing the DNA test, and Lindsay's like, well, in 24 hours if the test is positive, which, could having Caleb as a father really be deemed a positive? I mean, you get money, but I'd seriously be tormented on whether I want to take the money or not. I mean, like, I would like to think I'd be like, no, you can take your money and shove it. But honestly, I'd probably use the money to pay, like, rent for, like, a year. And then give the rest to a charity. You know? I mean, or, like, I would, like, fund my friends' Patreons who, like, needed it. You know? Something like that. Like, I would not use the money necessarily for just my own selfish needs, just to spite that selfish butthole. But anyway, so Lindsay talks about not really wanting to move to Chicago, but feeling kind of like that was her only option. And apparently she and Ryan both hate deep dish pizza, which makes them both deviants. Ew. Seth is moping in his room listening to The End of the Road by Boys to Men, which I want to say Boys for Men. I'm not sure why. But anyway, which, like, if you haven't heard it, it's a super depressing song. Look it up. You'll regret it because it's really a bummer. And he talks about how bummed he is because Summer is going to Tuscany and, like, is in the wedding. And Ryan's like, okay. And Seth's like, oh, I must do some grand gesture to make her want to be with me. It's very confusing. And he's like, I will take her on a sailing trip. And he's like, and Ryan's like, but you sold the boat for our bus trip. And it's like, well, I will buy the boat. And Ryan's like, you don't have any money. So Seth, I keep on playing the pronoun game, sorry. Seth keeps on thinking, he's like, I will go get a job. Please turn off this Boys to Men. And then the next scene is like a transition, and it's Summer who's listening to Boys to Men, The End of the Road, same song. And she's moping and looking at a cell phone, which has a picture of Seth and is Cohen, in case you wanted to know that. That's not really important, but I thought it was interesting that, like, even on her phone, he's Cohen. But yeah, so Zach comes by and she's like, so don't you think, and he's like, that's a lot of stuff you're packing, and we're going to hostel. And she's like, I would be hostile if you take me to the hostel. Those are, like, pretty much her exact words. And she's like, so don't you think it's kind of strange that I'm the bridesmaid and, like, I've met your sister, like, once? And Zach's like, nah, she's alienating and severe. And honestly, I think a lot of that might have to do with her taste in bridal dresses. But that may just be me being judgy. So, and she's like, I'm not sure, because then I'd have to get a different outlet to plug in my hairdryer. And Zach's like, I have this for you. And he hands it to her, and she's like, you think of everything. Thanks. Wah, wah. So Alex and Marissa are at Alex's place, and then the door knocks, and it's Seth. He's wearing his Spider-Man mask because it's in the pouring rain, and he basically asked Alex for his job at the bait shop back, and she's like, "Yeah, no, you were a terrible employee." And he's like, "Look, I will clean all the bathrooms. I will make everything look great." And she's like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever." And he's like, "Oh, by the way, I need an advance," which really, Seth, you're terrible. But anyway, he spies Marissa, and he's like, "Oh, you are." And like he gets really creepy and weirder even than usual that he's been acting, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I understand the need for a secret identity," which is nice, I guess, but still, does he have to be such a weirdo about it? I mean, they're girlfriends. It's not really that big a deal, you know? I mean, like, even for, let's see, when was this, 2004? Yeah, I don't think that, like, a teenage guy in Southern California, like, should necessarily be acting like that, like, so dramatically. But then again, it's Seth, and he does have, like, really bad social skills, so that might be it. And now it's time for a quick break. Rebecca and Sandy end up having a road go out in front of them, so they have to turn around and spend the night at a motel, and they're having like food, like ding dongs and cheap wine. I guess like it's, I don't know where they got the wine, but okay. So anyway, like Rebecca tries to come on to him, and Cindy's like, no, hasn't been just us for 20 years, so you knock it off. And then he goes to call Kirsten, which is weird because why wouldn't he call Kirsten when he realized that they'd have to like go to a motel? Like, why not just like call her while they're checking in? I don't understand this situation at all. And Seth is being Seth and Sething along Sethly. So here's his plan. He buys back his boat, which by the way has been altered and is now called Gimme Sex Delightful. So his boat. He has his boat, he puts it in the Cullen family pool. He invites Summer over, she gets on the boat and profit. I'm not exactly sure what's supposed to happen from there, but, well, he calls Summer to invite her over, like, just when she's leaving to go to Italy with Zach, and, yeah, it doesn't go well, and Summer makes a very valid point that he was the one that deserted her to go to Portland, which, I mean, yeah, I've always been on her side for that, because seriously, and it's an interesting correlation with Rebecca's situation, because she could have like let Sandy know where she was. I mean, maybe not directly from her, but she could have like used people. I mean, used people, that's funny. But you know what I mean? I mean, like, there are ways to get messages to people, like, even, let's see, this is 2000, so that would have been like in the early 80s. Yeah, she could have done that. I mean, sure, like, it wouldn't have been by internet and it would have taken a while, but he would have known that something happened to the woman he loved, and I'm gonna get into that next section anyway. So anyway, it doesn't go well with Summer, so he sits and mopes and listens to Boys to Men. So, now that we've got that settled with, Rebecca and Sandy. Sandy calls Kirsten and he finally gets a hold of her. He'd been calling her the night before and just, she says that she was tired. Was she tired or hungover from drinking with Julie? I don't know. It could be a mixture of both. I don't know. But he's like, look, if you need me to come home, I will. It doesn't matter. I will walk home. And she's like, yes, please, just get home. So, Sandy and Rebecca are in the car, and Rebecca's trying to rhapsodize over their relationships, and Sandy's not having it. He's like, no, that happened 20 years ago. You left me. And, that's the interesting thing is that she could have stayed. I mean, there was a chance that she would have been found innocent if she could prove that she wasn't actually there, but she didn't give that chance. I mean, like, how can you say that you care about somebody so deeply and disappear for 20 years without letting them know that you're even dead or alive? I mean, so, and Cindy's like, nope, we're not having this conversation. And he's kind of distracted. This is why you should not have intense discussions while driving. And he swerves to avoid a car, and they go over like this little embankment thing. That's their story. So, Lindsay, Caleb's daughter. I'm pretty sure I accidentally mentioned that, or maybe I was like, oh, spoiler alert, but yeah, she is. And there's something I'm wondering if during the warrior watches, because like I said, I haven't seen this episode at all, and like some of the other ones I haven't seen. So there's something that I really want an explanation for, and I'm hoping I just missed it the first time when I watched season 2. So that'll be interesting to note. And yeah, that's what's going on in OC land so far. Not good. Oh, how silly of me. Marissa and Julie. What is wrong with me? So, Julie's like, oh, I know that this is just a phase because I had a phase and you're my doppelganger and I won't let you have a personality except for the one that I bestow upon you. Okay, she doesn't see this. Very heavily implied. And Marissa's like, yeah, okay, Mom, whatever. And then Julie's like, what are you doing? Because she sees Marissa packing, and Marissa's like, yeah, I'm moving. You can call me if Caleb dies and you need help counting your money, which is something that she says, actually. And Julie looks very put out. Summer is at the airport with Zach's family, and they're talking about Italy, and Zach's sister is just being awful, and I swear I will never forgive that woman for that horrible, horrible dress. And it's not like I'm a fashionista or anything, it's just nothing was ugly, and nobody could look good in it. Rihanna could not make that dress look good. Rihanna, I love you, but you couldn't. Please, don't try. Yeah, Rihanna's listening to this podcast. But anyway, she gets a call from Seth, and she ignores it at first, and then she gets basically shown up by Zach's family, and I feel so bad that she feels that she can't just say, no, I don't know who Botticelli is, tell me more, I'm interested. I mean, there's no shame in that, but I understand because they're just horribly uncomfortable people. Just, you gotta wonder how somebody like Zach, who isn't perfect, but he's not a douchey, horrible person in that regard, at least. So anyway, Summer's like, I'm going to get some magazines. Do you want any? So she goes over and she gets sorry, I just got a message and that distracted me. She opens her phone and listens to her message, and it is a very sweet message from Seth. Still wouldn't forgive him for the douchiness he pulled, but I mean, that is a really nice message, and he sincerely apologizes for being such a jerk and hopes that she has a good time on her trip. So that's nice, but honestly, I think it would take a lot more for me to forgive him, because he treated their friendship like garbage. That's not a good thing. So, on to the Rebecca and Sandy show. Ugh, Rebecca. Rebecca annoys me so much. So, they've gone off this embankment. They're in the car, And then they get out of the car, like, nothing's broken, nobody's, like, really hurt, it's just, the car went over the embankment, so, kind of startling. So, a guy in a big truck comes by and is like, hey, I called the police, and Rebecca's all like, and Sandy's like, okay, whatever, and Rebecca's like, no, I have to leave, and Sandy's like, but you could stay and talk to the police and explain yourself. And it's like, I know that it was explained that no matter what happened, like, unless, like, they completely acquitted her, like, Rebecca's gonna spend some time in jail. But she ran away for 20 years. By law, she should reasonably expect to do some time. Like, and the second thing is that Sandy has put his livelihood on the line for her. Because seriously, if they found out that he was, like, consorting, I guess, with a suspected felon, then likely couldn't he get charged too? So Rebecca takes her bags and she leaves in the pouring rain. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. So we get to Alex and Marissa, and Marissa's like, oh, your closet's not big enough, and Alex is like, sorry, and it's like, what was Marissa expecting? Like, she'd spent the night at Alex's before. Did she not notice the closet? Did she think that Alex's closet was a tortoise and that could magically expand? Did she think that Alex would, like, get rid of half of her clothing to make room for Marissa's? I don't know. Just, like, her whole thing is really weird. Like, I get that she's supposed to be a very sheltered, spoiled little rich girl, but this just makes her look foolish. It really does, because, like, Alex is like, oh, by the way, can you get the recycling, or maybe it was a trash, I don't know, and rent's due, like, in a couple days, and Marissa looks like Alex slapped her with a fish, and I'm so confused because, like, did they not talk about this? Like, did they not make arrangements? So, hey, you can give me this money. I don't know. It seems that, like, that's something that I would take care of before, like, officially moving somebody in, just to make sure that they could, But that's just me. Sandy ends up having to take a Greyhound home, and Kirsten is waiting for him, and they get together and they hug, and Kirsten's like, is it over? And Sandy's like, it never began. And then they kiss, and it's very sweet. And Marissa walks Alex to work, and Alex asks her if she wants to come in because the band's really good, but Marissa's like, there are dishes to wash. And as she's going back, she sees Ryan standing at the pier, like, being sad because, Lindsay's going to Chicago. Although, I can't blame her, though. I mean, she saw Caleb Nickel for what he really was, and Ryan did warn her about him. So, like, he really shouldn't be surprised that she wouldn't want to be part of that. Like, I wouldn't. But, yeah, I would not want to live with Caleb Nickel. Ugh. But, yeah, so she comes with her umbrella and she puts it over his head, which doesn't really help because he's already sopping wet, and he looks at her with very sad Ben McKenzie eyes. I gotta say that Ben McKenzie does the sad look really well. So, yeah, that's them. And then we get to Zach and Seth and Summer. So Zach and Summer are at the airport. Seth is at home trying to fix his satellite because it went out. And, so he's wearing the Spider-Man mask, which I don't think I mentioned it because, like, I completely forgot about it. I thought it was just, like, a weird, oh, Seth's a nerd, here's how we'll show it. Because showing and not telling, like, I don't know. It was weird. So I don't even think I mentioned it, but yeah, he had this Spider-Man mask because he was like, well, it's the only thing I have is waterproof. So that makes sense. But anyway, so Zach's like, hey, my sister's having an anxiety attack and maybe the perspective of another girl will help her. Except for the fact it's very clear that his sister doesn't like Summer. So that wouldn't help at all. Like, that would make everything so much worse. And Summer's like, okay, sure, okay. Then she sees this kid with dark curly hair playing with a horse, and there are like comic books all over the place. Because Zach was like, she's afraid that it's fate that she should not marry Rodolfo. And then Summer sees this and she's like, and Zach's like, are you coming? And Summer's like, I can't. And she's like, I'm really sorry. And Zach's like, honestly, I didn't think you'd make it past security. Which, I mean, if he thought that she was having such doubts about the relationship, would he have tried to have sex with her? Because that makes him kind of horrible. But anyway, guess we're not gonna have to worry about that. So, that's fine. So, Summer leaves. Seth is still up on the roof trying to fix the cables. He slips, and thankfully he at least tied the rope firmly so that, like, he didn't, like, crack his head open or something. So he's dangling in the pouring rain, upside down, in a Spider-Man mask. Yeah, okay, now I'm getting why people told me that I would really like this episode. So, Summer has gotten a cab and has dropped off at the Gowan house. She knocks and then she's like, huh. So she just walks right in. Because, Summer, that's just completely a character for her. She's like, Cohen! Cohen! And then she hears Seth yelling for help and comes outside and sees him, and she peels down the mask and she plants one right on the lips. It is very romantic. Seth is still kind of a douche, though, so, get that. So that was the episode, and I really liked it, and we're coming on to, like, a bunch that I haven't seen, so, this is really fun. It's like we're watching this together. The next one is Season 2, Episode 15, which is The Malpasad. Wait, Malpasad? Malpasad. Yeah, like episode. Malpasad. That's Mall, not Maul. And by the way, Pasad, I don't know, that just sounds obscene to me. But anyway, have a happy day. Keep it fruity. Hope you enjoyed listening to this much as I enjoyed making it. Bye-bye.